Hi friends, it's Carly and I am back with another review. We have had highs and lows, but we finally made it to the end of the Crimson Dynamo Bathwave, and we are looking today at the final MCU figure from the upcoming, hopefully this summer, Black Widow film, and it is Black Widow herself, Natasha Romanoff. So we have seen some really great improvements, I think, overall with the Yelena figure. We saw some great things happening with the female figures. While I still found that figure to be a little bit boring, the facial sculpt, the paintwork, the armor, the way that her body fit together a little bit better, a little bit of increased mobility had me really excited for this final figure in the line and to see what they came up with for her, being the title character essentially of the entire run. So with all of that said, let's get into Natasha and look and see what they did with her. So I'm going to give you guys an up-close look at her face, first of all, because it really matches up to what we saw with Yelena. It's absolutely gorgeous. It is clearly Scarlett Johansson. They did a really great job of capturing her features and expression. I love what they did with the hair. This is mostly a paint thing for me. They did some, it looks like dry brushing, so there is a sort of dark low light under the red that gives her hair a really realistic sort of look when you're up close to it. With her body and her armor, I'm really excited about the way that this armor looks. I think that it looks modern and sleek. It looks like armor that you would see on a hand-to-hand combat type character. And I really appreciate that there is more about the armor that is about what she does as an assassin, as a Red Room trainee, than there is about the way that she looks as a girl, or as a woman, if that makes sense. This is a practical uniform. She looks great, don't get me wrong, but the uniform is clearly designed for an assassin, and it makes sense for an assassin. So I was really happy about that. That said, some specific things that I like about the paintwork on this were the mixing of textures. So there is a high gloss paint you can see here that is used on the shoulder pads and on the boots. And then the nice sort of matte finish, although this isn't quite as mattified as the Yelena figure is. It is matte, but it's not. Hers had almost like a texture overlay to it. This does not, and I really like that. So it's smooth and it doesn't catch the light. It really looks like something that you would wear for stealth. It makes sense for stealth. So I really like the way that that looks. Once again, the paintwork on these has been overwhelmingly positive for me. I did have a couple of issues on my specific figure. There was a blob of flesh-colored paint on her shoulder that I was able to just sort of scrape off with an X-Acto knife. She has a little dot of white paint next to her nose, which is one of those things that just happens. But as far as the paint design work and the overall execution of it, I'm really happy. I love the way that the gold looks on her Widow's Bite wrist guards and her belt. I think that it's a great accent color, and I think they executed it really well. So the color, the design, I love the little red right here and on her belt is really impressive to me. I just really love this costume overall. It looks practical. It looks like what an assassin should look like. The colors are great. The paintwork is great. And you know, other than the high-heeled boots, which always gets me with an action figure, it's a weird thing. I mean, hers are more of a wedge than a high heel like we saw in Emma Frost, but still, it just sort of irks me a little bit. But, I mean, that's the world of comic book fantasy, and we get used to it, we buy into it, so it's really okay. It's par for the course, and I'm not super mad about the fact that she's wearing high heels, because she's a badass. She can handle it. Let's talk about the mobility of this figure. We know that across the board with the female figures, mobility does not come along for whatever reason. Maybe it's because of smaller working parts, maybe, who knows, but it doesn't come along as well as it does with the male figures. So let's start top to bottom and talk about the mobility of this particular figure. The first is the head, which I have to say right off the bat is disappointing because it doesn't move at all. She has this asymmetrical haircut, you can see, which looks so awesome. And I am not mad at all as far as an aesthetic. I think it looks fantastic, but because of the way that it is, you can already see her head is not going to nod at all. It can't go, it could go forward. I don't know why it doesn't go forward, but it doesn't go back, and it doesn't hold any position that you put it in. So, and because of the asymmetry here, she also can't really turn her head all that far. So that's kind of a big bummer for me if the haircut weren't so cool. So I really like the way that this hairstyle looks, and not being able to move her head is bothersome, but she still looks great. So I can't really count that as a total miss. We'll count it as a meh, like right in the middle. I wish her head moved. It should move, but her hair looks great. So let's just call it an okay move. She has, you know, she can lift her shoulders as you would expect. Now she does have double jointed elbows, I'm gonna say, but like kind of not really, because this is as far as they go. So they don't go all the way into her chest. This is the movement that you get with her arms all together. As usual, it's not as good as the male figures, but it is an improvement, and you can still do a variety of poses with her. You can make great use of all of her weapon accessories, which I'll show you in a second. Her upper body, all of her turning then here is in her torso. So she can go back a click. She does not go forward a click, but she does turn all the way up here, which is great because she has that belt accessory with the hip holsters, or I guess thigh holsters, sort of garters that are connected, that would, if her waist was here, prevent her from turning. It does slightly, as an accessory, affect the way that her legs move, but not as much. It seems like even from the turning in the thighs, it does affect. But it seems like even from Yelena to this character, they might have refined that a little bit, and it really isn't a hindrance, and the look is so clean. So what I'm finding overall with this figure is that there are a few little iffy issues as far as the movement goes, but she looks so great that I'm not really upset about any of those, because I still feel like I can get great photographs out of this. I can play with her, I can pose her, I can do all kinds of things with her, and she just looks so sharp that it's not, maybe it should make me more mad, but it really just doesn't. So we get normal knee movement, and I kind of like what they did with her boots here. It does not have the turn in the boot like figures that I've said in the past, that it sort of bugs me when they do that. So what she has is like a full range of motion in her foot, like a complete range of motion that goes all the way up, all the way back, and 360 degrees around. Is it the most practical? No. Can you get great poses out of it? Get her to stand the way you want? Yes. When I say practical, I mean, would you ever need to turn her foot all the way around for a pose? Is that what you would normally see? No, it wouldn't like normally be necessary, but because she doesn't have any movement in her ankles, it is a great way to get a great pose, and they're very easy to move around. So I'm stoked about that. I think they're great. She has her weapon hands are the hands that are on her, and I left her accessories in the box so that we could look at them all together, just so I wouldn't misplace them. She's got her hands, 2 guns, 2 baton/nightsticks, and honestly, I want to check and see if her guns fit into her hands well, because Yelena's fit so perfectly. That was something I was really happy about, and sometimes you really have to fight them. Again, these weapons are perfect for the hands. Either the hands are made perfectly for the weapons, or the weapons are made perfectly for the hands. One way or another, they fit, and it looks great, and it was easy. You saw how easy it was to do. So overall, from top to bottom, I'm really, really happy with this figure. I love the high gloss detail. I can't get enough of these high gloss boots. I think they look so sharp. I think she looks really modern. I think she looks really tough, and it gets me excited a little bit to see what this character looks like moving around on film. One of the things that I love most about what they've done with this series is capture a realistic looking character. I feel like they really did that with Taskmaster, although I like the comic book design a lot better, and I know a lot of people didn't like him. I feel like bringing him into the real world, the way that they designed it was excellent, and I think that carries over to the way that our Black Widow looks. I think that she looks like what a real world, less comic booky version of Natasha would look like. And I'm really happy about it. I love the way that they have fixed the way that the body fits together. Her movement is all right. Her accessories are great. And overall, this is just a really nice figure. It's a great way to finish after some disappointments that we had, especially with the last figure. I'm so happy to see how fantastic this figure looks. And I can't wait to take some photographs with it, and really, I can't wait to see this character on film and see what the movie's about and see what she's gonna be like in it. So it was a real roller coaster with this wave of figures, but I'm happy overall with what I got. I've got some great new figures on my shelf, some great ideas for photographs I wanna take, and some really fun things to play with. And on my next video, which will be tomorrow, we will look at the Baff himself, the Crimson Dynamo, which we've seen come along. I've been showing as we go. The left leg was the last piece that came with this figure. He's all put together right next to me now, and I'm gonna tell you guys all about him in my next video tomorrow. Please let me know what you guys think of this Black Widow figure. If you love it, if you hate it, if you think that progress is being made, but maybe a little bit slowly, whatever your thoughts are. If you agree or disagree, I'm loving hearing your voices on all of these. And thank you so much for watching my videos. I'm having so much fun doing these reviews and just talking about toys, which is one of my favorite all-time hobbies, and I'm just really appreciative for everybody who's watching. Thanks so much, guys, and I will be back tomorrow with our final video in the Baff series, a look at the Crimson Dynamo. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.